Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Titans, Season 2, Episode 7, Bruce Wayne, or what this facsimile of Bruce Wayne is actually supposed to be, I don't know. So, welcome everybody. I'm gonna get some business out of the way first, as per usual. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on again next, you can hit the bell down below there. It doesn't work all the time because that's the way YouTube kind of works. But if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I change it out every week. I also put it up on my Facebook page, and I have a Facebook group page as well where you guys can post stuff and talk amongst yourselves. You don't have to wait for me to come on and do that. So, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon page, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet. I will at the end of this year. So, all right, let's get started here. Ooh, as I drop stuff on the floor. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. There we go. Well, of course, I got to plug that stuff, Joe. Otherwise, people don't know what to do. Wow. I was hoping not to sneeze, and there we go. Yeah. Okay. So, um, I'm just gonna get this out of the way first. Ian Glenn is the worst representation of Bruce Wayne that I've seen so far, and I believe someone else had said this. I read this online someplace. He would have made a great Alfred. I mean, an awesome Alfred. As a matter of fact, he does an Alfred impersonation in this episode. As a matter of fact, I'm like, he was a perfect Alfred. Why didn't they use him? But yeah, um, I'm not liking him as Bruce Wayne at all. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the recap. As I normally do, I do a recap first, then I go into the review for those of you who haven't read the description of the video. And I think there's that one person that's out there who knows who it is. So, knows who they are, I should say. So we see Jason. He's dreaming of falling, or we think he's dreaming. He's actually wide awake, standing in front of his bedroom window, and you see this kind of like scrolling across his eyes. It's a really cheesy effect. Um, I'll get into that pen at the end, how I felt about the episode. So, and we see Dick goes into the costume room that is in Titan's Tower there, and he's standing in front of the Robin costume, and Bruce is standing behind him, a little far behind him, and starts talking about him leaving the job, and he goes, yeah, when you left the job, you really you can divorce yourself from it pretty easily, and I'm kind of impressed by that. And then he says, well, he's basically telling him all his faults of what's going on. He goes, yeah, you tried to trade yourself into Deathstroke for Jason, but you were the only person Deathstroke didn't want. He wanted everybody else except for you. And then he says, you're putting all these kids in jeopardy because you're not telling them the truth, and you're leading them right into a blood feud between you and Deathstroke. So what do you have to offer at this point? And that's when Don walks in, and we see that Bruce is basically a figment of Dick's imagination. So this is all in Dick's head. Um, so Don walks in and basically tells him that they removed the bullets from Connor, but he's still not healing all that well, and there's some complications, and he needs to take a look. So he comes in, and Connor is unconscious in the infirmary bed there. And Don says that whatever he was shot with left behind some kind of toxin. And he's, unconscious. And Dick suggests, well, maybe they should take him to the hospital. And that's when Ghost Bruce pops up again and says, oh, that's a great suggestion because, they would surely finish the job there in the hospital. And, you know, Don and Corey both go, you know what? No, the tower is actually a better place for him, and maybe you should call it Bruce since he might know what the toxin is. And Bruce goes, you know what? I just realized what makes you the perfect leader. You're the only one that's got my phone number. I mean, just really kind of laying it into him there. And so they press him again about calling Bruce. He goes, okay, I'll call Bruce. And then Don goes, well, maybe you might want to check in on Jason too. So Jason is in the training room. He's punching the punching bag and he's just really going at it, listening to death metal music and all that stuff. Hey, Kajani. And he ends up, you know, Bruce talks, or excuse me, Dick talks to him and says, how are you feeling? And Jason's like, oh, I'm fine. Of course, he's going to say he's fine. Of course, Ghost Bruce shows up and goes, oh, yeah, that's great. The fall probably did him some good. A team of shrinks, maybe some meds, and he'll be right as rain, is what he says. And so Dick again asks him, he goes, how are you really? And Jason blows up at him. He goes, all you want to do is just blame me for what, I fucked up. He goes, I understand. I fucked up. You don't need to rub it in, and I don't need to hear about it, kind of thing. And Dick's like, nope. Just want to know if you're okay. He goes, get some rest. And he turns and walks away. And of course, Ghost Bruce, of course, tells him again. He goes, that's it. That's a well done. That's great advice, kind of thing. So everyone's in the kitchen, they're eating. And remember what I told you about this show is that everyone ends up in the kitchen eating for some reason. And I know you eat in the kitchen, but still, that's where they have their arguments, is in the kitchen. They never do it in the living room. It's always in the kitchen in this show. And Hank asked Dick, he goes, what happened with that Houdini act that you pulled where you just disappeared and didn't bother telling us anything? And and others are starting to chime in as well, saying, yeah, what the fuck happened, man? And he says, I fucked up. I love how Hank and Gross Bruce say at the same time, no shit. And Dick's like, you know what? I'm going out. And they're like, where? He says, I'm just going out. And he leaves. And Bruce, of course, Ghost Bruce is running a running commentary about how this is all par for the course. This is what happens. This is how he handles situations, kind of thing, is by running away from them. Yeah. So Corey, in the meantime, was looking after Connor on the bed, and she's, stroking his head, and he wakes up and grabs her hand and starts talking in Kryptonian, and he's asking a question, and he asks twice, and she answers him back, and he lets go of her and passes back out again. And Don comes in and goes, What did he just say? And what was that language? And Corey says, that was Kryptonian. It's a dead language. And I told him to let the hell go, let go of my goddamn arm, is what she says. She goes, well, that also explains why, I couldn't get the IV in him, because his skin is impervious. And yeah, that answers a lot. And he keeps muttering Eve, and they don't know who that is. So we end up seeing Eve. She's back in the lab, and she's watching Crypto being put back into his cage with a kryptonite collar. Poor little guy that he is. And Mercy comes in and basically tells her, yeah, Subject 13's dead. I put some bullets in him. Well, he's mostly dead. The kryptonite should do its job, kind of thing. And Eve, of course, is pissed off about that and demands that she puts together a team in order to go and rescue Connor. And Mercy's like, nope, Luther considers him a write-off, and it's on to Subject 14. And by the way, you're also fired. I need to be out within the hour, kind of thing. Give me your pass, is what she says. So she does, and as Eve is leaving, Mercy actually tells her, and we kind of get this a sense that Mercy doesn't really like Lex, which is kind of weird. That's different than the comics. Mercy actually tells Eve, she goes, you know what? Even if he has a little bit of Lex's DNA in him, our boss's DNA, don't you think it's more of a mercy that he's dead than inflicting that on the world, kind of thing? And so she even realizes that Lex is really fucking evil and shouldn't be procreating or passing on genes or anything like that, or having his DNA mixed in with a superhuman's DNA. And also, by the way, what kind of fucked up person takes the person that they really hate the most and decides to make a baby with them using their own DNA? I've always wondered about that. That's just kind of a weird, twisted thing. But hey, who am I to judge on that one? So, you know, Eve tells Mercy that, his name is Connor. and she storms out of the room. And then Eve bumps into another scientist in the hallway and steals her ID card, her ID badge. So Dick walks into a bar and we get to meet Benny. And Benny knows Dick, and Dick knows Benny has information. And Benny's like, "No, I don't deal in that anymore. I don't do that." And he goes, "Yeah, so what's that gun in your hip for?" He goes, "Oh, the rest of the neighborhood doesn't quite understand that." And Dick wants info on Slade, of course. And Benny tells Dick that the last time he saw Slade was down the Peninsula gun range. Yeah, which is kind of funny because that's true. There are no gun ranges in San Francisco anymore. They're all down in the peninsula now, which I thought was a nice little attention to detail on that one. So Ghost Bruce continues to talk shit to Dick throughout this entire thing and about needing Alfred to tend to his boo-boos. And this is where he does his Alfred impersonation. And I'm like, holy shit, Ian Glenn would make the perfect Alfred. He sucks as Bruce Wayne, but he makes a very good Alfred. Yeah. Yeah, the show is a little bit warped. They're embracing the weirdness finally. That's what I'm glad about. Now that we don't have Akiva Goldsman or Jeff Johns fucking up the mix in the writers' room, they're actually embracing the weirdness the same way that Doom Patrol did, and that's what you need to do with Titans. Um, Sorry, but that's just the way it is. Look at the Young Justice. Young Justice is awesome. Uh, did Akiva Goldsman direct this one? I honestly I forgot to take a look at it, to tell you the truth. So he might have, but as long as he's not writing it, I'm fine because he sucks at writing. I mean, just sucks at writing. So, you know, Benny brings him over a donut, and Dick tells him, "You know what? Don't lie to me. Tell me where Slade is." And he doesn't do gun ranges. And Ghost Bruce is basically telling Dick, he goes, put his head in the deep fryer, slam his head down in the bar. And Dick finally says, "Will you shut the fuck up?" And he looks over at him, and Benny's like, What the fuck are you talking to?" And he finally grabs Benny and slams him down face first on the bar and says, "Where the fuck is Slade?" And he goes, "You know what? Slade retired 6 or 7 years ago." And he goes, "Okay, what about Wintergreen then?" And Benny, of course, denies knowing anything about Wintergreen. And this is when actually Dick grabs Benny's head and slams it down to the bar and grabs his gun and points it at his head and says, "Where the hell's Wintergreen at?" And Wintergreen, he basically tells him that Wintergreen used to date these two twins until one OD'd. And he goes, "She owns a place over called the Scarlet Rose over on Harbor. Her name's Maddie Matisse," which of course is a made up name. And so Dick tells him he's keeping the gun, and Ghost Bruce goes, "No guns." And he basically tells him to fuck off again. And, Dick tells him, Deathstroke's a gun guy. And he actually is talking to Ghost Bruce directly. And Benny kind of looks confused, which, of course, I would be too if some weird guy is doing that. So Hank, in the meantime, gets out of the shower and finds a bottle of booze in his room and is like, "What the fuck?" And he's really pissed off about it. And then we see Jason is blasting metal music in his room and caught in the loop of falling again. He's just staring out the window. When someone just starts pounding on the door, and it's Rose, and she goes, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And she invites herself in, of course. And she goes, "You know what? Deathstroke, my dad really did a number on you, didn't he?" And she goes, "You know what? You're not a fuck up. Everyone keeps saying you're a fuck up, but you're not. You're the only one who's doing anything about this." And she goes, "You're the only one I can basically talk to." And Jason tries defending Dick a little bit there. And, it's kind of a half-hearted attempt to defend Dick because, Dick is Dick. And, Rose says everyone in the tower needs a super shrink. And Jason says that would require everyone to talk, which isn't going to happen. It's not their strong suit. And she's basically convinces him to let her stay, and she wants to spin some good music in his room, which it's very questionable as to what she considers good music, which we'll go to in a little bit. So Eve breaks into Crypto's cage room using the card that she purloined and gets him out of the cage, which sets off an alarm, but she can't get his collar off, so she ends up grabbing a piece of reflective material and tells him to use his heat vision, which he does and burns her hand a little bit, but it gets the collar burned off or broken anyway. And then she grabs onto Crypto's collar and grabs onto Crypto's neck and says, "Get us the hell out of here." Just as the guards come in and Crypto flies. Crypto flies. He doesn't jump like Superboy does. He flies and flies them out the window. Good boy that he is. So Dick goes over to the Scarlet Rose Burlesque and he asks for Maddie Matisse and he gets nodded over to her table and he goes and sits down and she's like, this is my table. You should be leaving. She calls him creamsicle, as a matter of fact. And he says, I'm looking for Wintergreen. And he goes, I know who you know who he is, and that, I know he killed your sister, kind of thing. And she ends up opening up out of all of a sudden says, yeah, he did kill Christy. Yes, I was with him, but it made my skin crawl. And um, Dick says that he needs to find him. And at this point, Ghost Bruce is on stage doing the Batusi. He's doing the old Adam West Batusi. For those kids that don't know what that is, go and take a look at the 1960s Batman, and or you can just Google Batusi, Batusi, and it was actually a dance in the 60s. I shit you not, that became popular. Yes, he stole Mr. West's moves. He did it purposely. There was a reason for that. Because he was just playing at being Bruce. He was not really Bruce Wayne. And she basically tells him, where to find him at, and that he's in the Davis Hotel at the top, and she gives him a key card to get in. So Donna, in the meantime, finds a bottle of that old soda that Aqualad had given her in her room. And she's like, what the fuck is this? In the meantime, Rose is playing some vinyl in Jason's room, and it's some really shitty music that she starts dancing to. And he's staring out the window, again, catatonic. And she yells at him and goes, hey, let's dance. He goes, I don't dance. She goes, come on, I'll teach you. It's just like fighting. And, they end up dancing together and they kiss. And he apologizes and says, don't beat my ass. He goes, it was just, it was a mistake. And she goes, no, it's fine. If I may let you even do it again, is what she says. Dude, I wonder what Ian thought of the script before he did this episode. Yeah, I don't know either, Joker. Yeah. Anyway, he just really disturbed me as Bruce Wayne. He was not Bruce Wayne. So she looks down at one of the albums and sees that it's her brother's album because it's got his writing on it. And she's like, where the fuck did you get this? And he goes, it's Dick's. I borrowed it from Dick. And she goes, these are all my brother's albums. How does he know my brother? Why didn't he say anything about this? And, I heard that he had fallen in with a bad crowd. That's why my dad killed him. And why didn't Dick tell me that he knew my brother? And you all suck. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And she storms out. Yeah. I'm pretty sure at this point that she's a plant by Deathstroke, that she's actually working with Deathstroke to fuck with them. But I can't be 100% sure about that. But everything is pointing towards her being the plant. So, stuff keeps appearing, and she's the only one that's there because Deathstroke obviously is not roaming through the tower, putting stuff around there. And yes, there are photos, which we'll get to in a little bit. So, yeah. Anyway. Dick tells Ghost Bruce, that what they're doing is they're because Ghost Bruce asks him, because what are we doing here? Because they're going to the hotel, and Dick says that we're gonna go find Deathstroke, and he goes, well, why? So we can bury him. And he goes, oh, and bury the secrets as well. And Dick's like, no one needs to know about that, So Dick enters the room, and he sees one topless girl. Pretty much all she has on is a G-string. Tells her to leave. She hands him the drink that she was making. And he sees another one, tells her to leave as well. And Wintergreen is in the bathtub. And he goes, tell me where Deathstroke is. And he goes, I'm not telling you shit, pretty much. I'm the buffer between guys like you and him. And he goes, and I got this job for a reason because I'm not budging. And Dick shoots twice into the bathtub and goes, tell me where the fuck he is. He goes, he goes, I don't know which one of you is crazier, you or him, for doing this stuff. And he goes, and he gets out of the tub and says, how long has it been since you used one of Slade's family members against him? 5 years? And Ghost Bruce in the meantime is telling him, you know what, go back to the tower. People need you back at the tower. He goes, don't do this. And Dick tells him to, stop talking. And that Wintergreen goes, are you okay? And he bops Wintergreen in the face with the gun and knocks him out, basically. And Ghost Bruce says, well, who else are you going to kill? If you keep, to keep your secret. And just as Ghost Bruce says that, Wintergreen's phone rings and it's Deathstroke, who knows that Dick is there. And he gives Dick an address and says, meet me there. And he goes, where is this place? And he goes, you'll know it when you see it, is what he tells him. So Dawn's in the kitchen with Hank and he's cooking, and she sees the picture of the dead kid, the one that Dr. Light had killed, sitting in the kitchen. She goes, hey, did you take this from my dresser? And he goes, no. And he goes, you know what? Someone's fucking with us. And that's when Donna walks in and goes, what's going on? And they start comparing notes of all the gifts that they've been left. And they're trying to wonder who it is. And we see Jason standing again, stuck in the loop in front of the window, his fall loop and all that. So Corey's talking to an unconscious Connor and says, you know what? We've done all we can for you. You need to not die, basically. So that's what she says. And we find Eve ends up outside Titan's tower. That's where Crypto has led her, because she is basically told Crypto to find Connor. And she rings the doorbell. And of course, there's no alarms that go off, which is kind of a first. She's the first one that rings the door. There's a fucking superpowered dog at the door, and the alarms don't go off. Man, someone needs to check that damn security system on the tower, because all their friends keep showing up and the alarms go off. Superpowered dog and a genetic engineering person who genetically engineered a super being is outside, and they're like, oh yeah, that's fine, no problem whatsoever. So she's brought in, and Corey finds out who she is, and she goes, there's nothing I can do for him because the kryptonites already poisoned him, and it's gone too far. She goes, the only thing we could do is we could bring him to the sun, but even that would be too late. Basically, oh, you forgot a Windows update. I hate when that happens. Yeah, I try and get those before it happens in the middle of a podcast too. Sometimes that has happened. Yeah. And she says, or we could bring the sun to him. And then Corey smiles and she brings in Rachel and tells Eve and Crypto to stand outside, and has Rachel, of course, envelop them with her basically shield everyone from them, as Corey is holding on to Connor, and she supernovas, turns into a sun, and heals Connor. And Connor wakes up. She burns off all his clothes, of course, but he's all right. He wakes up and he's good. He's not 100%, but he's good. And Eve's pretty much astonished about this at this point. And he's laying in bed, and he apologizes to her for not following her advice to not be a hero. And she goes, you know what? That was terrible advice. Don't follow that. And I was like, finally, someone gets it. Don't follow the bad advice about not being a hero, because seriously, that was bullshit advice. That was Snyder's Pa Ken advice of those kids should have died. You should just let them die. Yeah, that's bullshit advice, man. So she says, you know what? You need a few days to sleep and recover, and leaves the room. And Crypto jumps on the bed because he's happy to see Connor once again. So Dick enters a church, I should say. And Ghost Bruce tells Dick that Deathstroke is leading him away from where he needs to be. And he tells him how he has blood on his hands, a lot more blood than he's got on his own hands. And, afraid of the dark, and afraid that others, if they knew his secrets, would leave him. And Dick says they don't need to know. They don't need to know the secrets. And he goes, you know what? If you want me to leave, he goes, you know how to get rid of me. You've known all along. And Dick says, it's just too hard. Dick says it's too hard. Yeah. Um, yeah. And that's when he goes up to the altar in the church and he sees all the photos that Deathstroke has laid out on the altar for Dick to find of everyone in the tower. Rose and Jason dancing, and Hank and Don and Donna and everybody, and realizes that he's been played. He wipes the photos off the altar and goes running outside, jumps on his motorcycle, and takes off. So Rachel walks into her room and sees that there's crucifixes all over the place, drawn on the windows, drawn on the mirrors, and she fucking gets pissed and cracks the mirror. And we see Jason in his room, still catatonic, and she bursts into his room and goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why'd you leave crucifixes all over my room?" And he goes, "What the hell are you talking about? I didn't do anything." And he leaves the room and walks out into the living room. She's still yelling at him. And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, what happened?" And she says that Jason left crucifixes all over her room. And Hank says, "You know what? You're lucky we're on the same team, because that bottle of booze that you left me, because I don't care if we're on the same team or not." He goes, "I'll knock you the fuck out." So everyone's blaming Jason for all the stuff that's been happening. And he keeps saying, "I didn't do it. It wasn't me." But no one's believing him. And he leaves, of course, leaves the room. And Dick comes in with the gun in his hand still and tells everyone that Deathstroke is in the tower. And Hank's like, "What are you talking about, buddy? And what's with the gun?" And that's when Ghost Bruce goes, "Who's missing out of the room?" And of course, it's Jason. So he goes running after Jason, finds Jason on the roof. And Jason goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I've people have tried to help me before. Dick, Bruce wasn't the first one. There have been others, teachers, cops, you." And he goes, "But it's never worked." He goes, "I'm cursed," kind of thing. "I was in juvie once and 4 people died." And he goes, "I'm poisoned and it's just spreading." He says, "But there's one way to take care of it." And he's standing on the ledge, and Dick tells him, "You know what? Back away from the ledge." And Jason's like, "No, it's me. They blame, they hate each other because of me. Connor got shot because of me. And nothing's coming together here in the tower because of me. Nothing works. That's why this place doesn't work." And he sticks his foot out over the edge, and Dick says, "Stop." And says, "No, it's not you. It's me. I'm the poison here." And he looks over at Ghost Bruce, and Ghost Bruce dissipates at this point because he's getting ready to tell his secret, because it's not a CW show. I mean, it's not a DC Universe show unless someone has a secret. Sorry. Yeah, no, I know it's Berlanti verse. So Berlanti likes having these secrets. That's what he does. And Dick tells him that his secret is what's making them all sick. And he says that he killed Deathstroke's son 5 years ago. Dun dun dun. Something that we already knew about, and something that could have come along a little bit faster. But hey, that's good. They actually got it out into the open, and we roll to credits and some more 80s music. So next week, of course, we have Jericho, which is what we're going to be focusing on. Deathstroke's son and what the fuck happened. And I don't know if Dick actually killed Jericho with his own physical hands, or his actions led to Jericho's death. Probably his actions led to Jericho's death, because unless they're going to go real dark with it and have Dick actually kill Jericho, we'll find out. So what I think of this episode, this episode wasn't bad, except for Bruce Wayne. This was not Bruce Wayne. This was a guy that was kind of pretending to be Bruce Wayne. He was a horrible representation of Bruce Wayne, probably the worst Bruce Wayne I've ever seen. He would have been a much better Alfred. He really would have. And yes, even with the Batusi, which is, one of my favorite episodes of the old 66 Batman, but still, that was not endearing enough. They could have gotten someone better. They really could have. And it didn't need to be someone old. You could have still gone with someone old and still did someone better. I don't know. It just... And now I'm starting to wonder if he even talked to Bruce in the Wayne Manor or not, because Bruce wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be out with the Justice League, supposedly, at that point. So did he really talk to Bruce then, or was that another part of his fucked up psyche? You know, which I'm pretty sure the writers didn't think that far ahead on this one. So I'm fairly sure he was talking to the real Bruce. I'm just giving a little more credence to something else that wasn't there. Sorry, guys. I'm talking about through the writers of there. A lot of quality Canadian actors available. There are a lot of quality Canadian actors up there in Vancouver where they're shooting this. Is it Vancouver or Toronto? Toronto. I take that back. Titans is in Toronto. The CW shows are in Vancouver. So yeah, East Coast, West Coast. Yeah, that's why you get a little more of the French accent in the Toronto people. That was my horrible French accent, but French accent, by the way. I guess DC wanted a name. Yeah, I guess, but they could have gone with some better. I don't know. You still could have gone with someone better. And who would have made a better Bruce Wayne in this? An older Bruce Wayne. Let me think. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's out, of course, because he's in the movies. You've got, Thomas Wayne and also he's tied up with Walking Dead for a while there, so that's not going to happen. Who's out of work at the moment, but still a good actor who could have done it? Idris Elba. There we go. Scarlett Johansson. There we go. It's Scarlett Johansson playing Idris Elba, playing Bruce Wayne. There we go. There we go. Kiljani says using Bruce as a figment of imagination is a creative way to tell this story. Yeah, I'm not against the way they told the story, Kiljani. It's actually a good story. It was a good plot development the way they did it. It moved things along. Did it need an entire episode like this? Not really. And they could have introduced this a little bit earlier on, to tell you the truth, and having Dick kind of losing his mind a bit because Deathstroke fucking with him. And he's already damaged as it is from Aqualad's death and also from Jericho's death at this point. And then having Jason being abducted could have been the final straw that broke it, instead of the fight and Jason almost dying being the straw that broke his back on that one. You see Lee kind of up to it, where you see flashes of Bruce here and there, and kind of like Fight Club in a way, you know. Yeah, and his whole Batman upbringing and the whole crime fighting thing. I mean, I'm sure that does some pretty damaging shit to someone's psyche. Fighting against the Joker, come on. Excuse me. It would have been funny if they could have gotten Keaton too. Oh yeah, that would have been very, very expensive. True. How many episodes in the season? 13. Kajani was what I saw. I have it on my DC Universe thing where you can go ahead and you can. It says 13 episodes on there. So yeah, we're about the halfway mark right now. Yeah, a little over the halfway mark actually, because we're episode 7 out of 13. Not that we can trust what Warner says. Yeah, I know. Who knows? They might cancel it. I'm not joking. They could, because I mean this is the way they're owned by AT&T now, and AT&T's been doing some really stupid shit lately. So who knows? Joker says I saw a lot of paralleling to Walter White and Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Yeah. But you know what? That actually happened earlier in Batman comics. So actually, you saw a lot of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson in Walter White and Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. Yes, I know Disney fired Kurt Sutter, but he kind of brought that on to himself. But that's another story for another time. Probably, maybe tomorrow I might talk about it. I don't know. It's Mayans MC, so I really don't care, to tell you the truth. It was a horrible series. Nope, I did not watch El Camino, Kajani. I'm not a Breaking Bad fan. Sorry. Yeah. But So we get to find out what happened to Jericho next episode. I kind of want to see more Deathstroke, to tell you the truth. That's what I want to see. And hopefully we get some more Deathstroke next week, because Isai Morales says Deathstroke is actually killing it. Tell you the truth. No pun intended. Maybe a little bit of pun intended on that one. But yeah, I need to see more of that. I would honestly I would like to see a movie with Isai Morales as Deathstroke, to tell you the truth. He would be awesome. Yeah. See, I mean, you get a good actor like Isai Morales, perfectly made for Deathstroke, and then you get Ian Glenn for Bruce Wayne. What the fuck, man? I mean, come on. Yeah. No, I love Manu Bennett. I'll tell you that right now, Joe Greer. Manu Bennett as Deathstroke was fucking flawless. I can say that. Morales has given him a good run for his money, but Manu is still Deathstroke as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going ahead, Kijani, on that one. So, yes, I did watch Manu on Spartacus as well. Yes, he was awesome in that as well. So that means Deathstroke is Gus Fring. They both end up with one eye. Yes, exactly, Joe. And welcome, Joe and Joe Greer. I got the Joes again. It's been a little while. Yeah. Like I said, I'm really digging the second season here. The second season is making up a lot for the first season, for how bad the first season was. The first season was pretty damn lousy, and it was because of the writing. It really was. And a lot of dick jokes. A lot of dick jokes. Yes, I inserted my own dick jokes in this one here, but inserted my own dick jokes here. Yeah, okay, that works. But there's, they weren't as apparent this time around. Dick jokes were no always so visible, I shall say, in this season. You know. But yeah, that's what happens. Good night, Kijani. I'm not pronouncing your last name because murder it. I murder names. I murder my own name. Happens all the time. So, tomorrow is Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and talk about it and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And then Sunday is a double header. It starts off with Mr. Robot and ends with Watchmen, the HBO series Watchmen. I'm still very on the fence about that one. I don't know what's going on there. Monday I'm off. Tuesday is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I just don't know what I'm going to do as of yet. I'll find something. Wednesday I'm off, and then Thursday we come back to Feelings in Hallways, where I cover the the other DC shows that are on the CW. That's 5 DC shows, by the way. And yeah, I've been bitching a little bit about them. I'll have to say that much. I know people don't really enjoy my bitching about them, but I'm not ripping into them. I'm kind of bitching about what could be better about them and what I did like about some of them and what I don't like, that kind of thing. And yes, I agree with you, Joe Greer. Wonder Girl did have a minor part in this one. She was only in like 5 seconds of scenery. She delivered what, 2 lines? She'll like, oh, what the fuck? And then someone's been sleeping in my bed. That was pretty much about it. And then she was gone. Yeah. I don't know what was up with that. Maybe she's which I thought she was supposed to be a series regular this season, but who knows? She had been talking it up on Twitter that she was, back, as a regular character, and I don't know what's going on. But then again, Garfield wasn't there, you know, not all that much either. He popped in for a second, he had his face in, and I'm there. Rachel just, Deus Ex Machina, if you will. I just murdered that too. I know someone's gonna comment on it in the comment section. Yes, I know I mispronounced it. I'm sorry. 30 lashes with a wet noodle. Got it. Uh, so if you like what you see here, hit that like button. Hit like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see at the very end of this video a little video box pop up here that has basically what Google does is, or Google, YouTube will take the algorithm of all the stuff you've been watching, take a video out of my vast video library, and pop it up there just for you. Up here will be last night's episode of Feelings in Hallways. So if you want to see what that's all about, take a look at that. Like I said, tomorrow is Saturday morning blast off, and that is at 10:30 a.m. Take a look at the schedule as Pen just popped up there, suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on my Facebook page as well. There is a Facebook group chat page as well, or group page, I should say, where you can go in and post what you like as long as it's tasteful and respectful of everyone else and talk to everybody. Go on in, start posting some shit. I can't be the only one that does it. So you see it on my main page too. I post stuff over there, and yeah, there's only so much I can post. I work too, full time. Yes, I invite everybody. It's open. I don't know how to turn off the not having to verify everyone who comes in. I looked in all the settings and I can't find it, quite honestly. But then again, I'm old and I use the Facebook and all that stuff, so you know how it is. But yeah, with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the night because I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing me talking about this. So yes, so old. I am, Joe. I am very old. Not as old as a mountain or a tree. But how's the old saying go? But for a man, I'm just right. No, I'm actually still old for a man too. So there we go. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and joining me tonight in the chat. Also, thank you if you made it this far in the video. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Saturday morning blast off. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to talk down a teenager off a roof who used to fight as a superhero and really should be used to this shit a little bit more often. But for some reason, couldn't handle falling out of a building and being saved by another superhero. Anyway, that's for another story. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.